the mechanic behind getting back with your ex. This is what we're gonna cover today. By the end of this video, I want you to understand what you should be doing right now if you want to get back with your ex. What you should not be doing. You'll also understand the mechanics, how it works, why people who are following my videos or my clients are more successful than people who are not aware of my techniques. So many times I have people on the phone calling me and telling me, listing me all the mistakes that you could be doing that I will list in this video and telling me I should have called you 6 months ago. So the idea of this video is hopefully for you to watch it at the right time, but obviously to learn tactics, tools, proven tools to help you get back with your ex. Really, it's really about the mechanics, sort of engineering work in terms of you getting back with your ex. There you go.
IGetMyExBack.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
First concept you have to understand is perception versus reality. It's a fundamental concept. You might not be aware of it, so I'm glad that you're watching this video because it's really a game changer. Your ex's perception of you has changed. I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about their perception of you. Your perceived value has decreased in their eyes. You had an amazing relationship, you're sharing lots of values, you have projects, you got along super well, emotionally connected, the sex was amazing. You can list all the things that was amazing about this relationship. But at some point, your value in their eyes decreased. But you're still the same person. I mean, in a way, we change, but you are fundamentally the same person. The person they fell in love with, right? And that's what we're gonna work on. That's why my job, in a way, and I'm gonna explain why it's easy and hard at the same time, is because they fell in love with you at some point in their life. So it's how we can bring you back at this stage in their eyes, changing the perception that they have about you, about the relationship. Now, the problem is that it works only if you are what I call a recoverable couple or relationship. It means that you have strong foundation. It means that what you had was really something meaningful that we can sort of build on, that we can leverage. And that's why I put a quiz for you to know if you have any chance to get back with your ex. Because statistically, not all couples are made to be back together. That's a fact. So check, instead of watching videos or instead of buying coaching, or I think you still learn about yourself watching my videos, but at the end of the day, if you know that you shouldn't get back with your ex, or there's actually no chance for you getting back with your ex, you better know now than wasting 6 months, a year and a half, almost, not every day, but very frequently, people calling me and telling me their story, and I ask them like, what's the score of your quiz, and tell me like it's 10. Well, it's a bad sign. And usually when they tell me their story, it's like really, there's a high correlation, and I usually tell them, well, you know the answer, you know whether you should get back, or you know whether you have any chance, right? And they tell me like, yeah, I know it's gonna be hard. No, it's not hard. It's impossible. So yeah, have the quiz. It takes 2 minutes. It's totally free. And the link is in the first comment of the video. So really important, the perception versus reality, because we can change the perception. And so the drivers of this change of perception, a lot of the time people are struggling to understand why my ex broke up with me. One day she or he told me I love you, the next day he decided to break up with me. So something you did or didn't do. You broke their trust. You perhaps activated their attachment style. Maybe you talked about commitment to an avoidant person and he pulled back massively. Maybe the lack of connection, which actually is the outcome of bad communication as well. Maybe it's because of the environment, a new job, your lifestyle, you have kids, maybe your parents are sick and you have to take care of them, so you spend less time with your partner. There's so many reasons that could be happening, so many things that could be happening in your environment, in your life, that would have a knock-on effect on your relationship. There are so many reasons that I can't list them all. So if you want and you're struggling to know, or you have those reasons, it'd be interesting to see in the comment section the reason they gave you, and I will basically help you out. And I think it'd be interesting as well for others to see the reasons their ex gave you, so at least you have a better idea whether this is really strange what my ex is telling me, or actually that's quite common for people to say these kind of things. So getting back with your ex is easy. As I mentioned, you were madly in love, but something happened, right? You can leverage that love, that foundation. The thing is, of course, as I mentioned, the perception can change. They fell for you once, as I discussed, so you had certainty that if you had to seduce them for the first time. My job is easier to help people get back with the ex than get someone successful in dating. I know that's another type of coaching, and it's not really scientific, that's why I don't really do that. But I know a lot of people, they coach people who are not really confident in dating, but they don't have any certainty. I have the certainty that you were in love at some point, so it's easier for me. So the objective of transformation is achievable. I'm not bringing you from someone who's never dated anyone, who's, I don't know, not interesting, super ugly, stupid, and bring them to the dating scene and say like, okay, I'm going to coach you and you're going to transform, you're going to be, the extreme makeover type of thing. No, it's not what I'm about. It's really about how we can align yourself, how can we tweak a little bit that perception towards what they're after. And so you have the ability within you to increase that perceived value. 100% of my clients, they have that ability. And I know it because, of course, I assess them before I onboard them, and I'm sure because they had an amazing thing with their ex, we can use that. And the step is not necessarily really difficult, it's really about the process. So the perceived value is your changes plus the right communication. A lot of the time people tell me like, I've changed, I've seen a therapist, I've worked on myself, I've changed jobs, but I'm struggling to convey this to my ex. Or some people think like, yeah, I'm a good speaker, but I'm kind of complacent, or I don't know exactly what to do. You need to have both. You need to have the changes and you need to have the right communication. And that's why sometimes it's better to have a coach when you're struggling with how you can communicate things. That's why I coach people on WhatsApp, because sometimes they're working on themselves, they have sessions with me or with a therapist, they've changed a lot of their environment, they're more positive, they're less anxious, but they're struggling to understand what their ex really wants. They're struggling to address and express their needs in the same way, not to scare their ex or push them away. And some people, they're really lost and they just want to have some help to change, or they just need motivation. The same way when I want to work out, because it's not really my thing, I get a coach to help me, to push me, to push me outside of my comfort zone. And that's normal, and a lot of people do that in different aspects of their lives. But getting back with your ex is hard at the same time, otherwise you wouldn't be watching my videos, obviously. The problem you have is that your ex will give you a hard time. They assessed for months whether they wanted to end the relationship or not. So don't think that within a week they'll be like, okay, I'm convinced, I'm going to give you a second chance. You have to fight on a daily basis against your demons, which are quite many. Big team, your fear, insecurity, trauma, anxiety, and you can name hundreds of them. And you have to fight daily against those things because they are pulling back from what you want to achieve. Those things that are mainly unconscious are pulling you away from your ex. The problem is that your ex will doubt your ability to fix things. They assessed already whether you could change in the relationship. So it's harder for them to accept that you are willing to change. And of course, you can convey the idea that the breakup was a wake-up call, and thanks to this, I realized what was important for me in my life, to me in my life. You can still say that, but your ex will be like, okay, fair enough. Prove me this. They won't say actually, prove me this. They will probably think that or unconsciously think that, but you have to prove them on a daily basis, day in and day out. And in a way, and I've said that in a recent video, if your score was high in terms of on my quiz, and therefore your relationship was strong, your ex unconsciously wants you to succeed. Your ex unconsciously wants to be happy, wants to be back to this amazing relationship you had. That's your job to prove them that actually that's possible. So I'm quite analytical. Not that I'm an accountant, but I'm going to use asset and liabilities. What I want you to do is to really think and really change your mindset whenever you do something. If you want your ex to change their perceived value, you really need to be careful of what you do on a daily basis. You really need to spend a lot of your time, if not most of your time, filling in your assets side, so the plus, if you're not familiar with accounting. So one of your main assets is you. They fell in love for you, right? Take care of you. That's the most important asset you have right now. Don't think about your ex. Don't think about your anxiety. Think about you. What can you do to treat you, to nurture you? The other asset is the work you're doing, showing strength, growing in confidence, your history together, what you've had together that you can use in communication, that you can use when you see your ex, the impact you're creating on your community, on your ex, on your family, on yourself. It's very important. And it's also going to bring you a lot of confidence. The other column is the liabilities. Being emotional, not respecting their space, being needy, being jealous, dwelling on the past, trying to manipulate. Okay? And you see, almost any minute, you have the choice between filling in the minus column or the plus column. So anytime you have to make a decision, anytime you have a thought, figure out whether you are about to fill in the asset column or the liability column. Whether you are creating positive impact or fueling the negativity. Because let's be honest, after a breakup, there's a lot of liabilities and you have to go against that. You have to remove those things, you have to empty that column and populate the asset one. I hope it makes sense. And if you're in accounting, let me know if that's the right way to convey this idea. Each time you make a decision, ask yourself whether you're adding, as I said, and putting it. It's really, really hard, if not fucking hard to do. You need to overcome your fear, the urge to be in touch. And I know I've been in your shoes and I know every day I help people who have this urge. How can I do it? I have so many things going on. I'm not sure she's going to move in with someone. He's with a rebound. I don't see any progress. The strong desire for answer. I want to ask him why. The idea that you can't talk them out. I've told her, but she doesn't understand. She neglects me, or he neglects me, he ignores me. All these kind of things, all these kind of unconscious things or thoughts that you have that are preventing you from building on this asset column. They need time. The key element here is consistency. It's really about consistency. When we talk about change and transformation here, as I mentioned, we're not talking about extreme makeover. We're talking about how can we bring you back to where you were, or how can we align yourself with what your ex expects you to be, to do, to say. It's really about alignment. And when you do that in a sustainable way, it needs to be tiny change consistently. There's no other way around. If you look at any sort of sustainable transformation, it's really about consistency. It's really about small steps. It will pay off, and that's the thing. You might be doubting that because maybe it's been a week, maybe it's been 2 months, maybe it's been 6 months, and you don't see any progress. Well, if it's 6 months, give me a ring because it's a bit too much. Maybe you're doing something wrong. It is okay to be impatient, but don't let this drive your decision. Getting back with your ex is always longer than what you think. When you are thinking with this short-term thinking, you are actually adding stuff to your minus column. When you're thinking long term, this is where you create that change. This is where you create that transformation. And I know it's really, really, really hard. It's like when you go on a diet, of course, long term, I'm going to be fit, but short term, there's this chocolate bar. And you have this battle. It's exactly the same when you have to get back with your ex. You're thinking long term, we've been together 10 years. If it takes 6 months, when I tell that with my clients, they say, yeah, fair enough. But then in reality, when it's day one and they feel like, wow, I'm never going to get through 6 months. In reality, they will, and it works. But when you go from 0 to 6 months, it's really, really hard. It's really, really hard because there's so many things that are pulling you away, that are really trying to, all those fears and insecurities, those mixed signals that are really preventing you from making the right actions because you want to get quick fix. You want shortcuts. Maybe you're connecting with people who are commenting on my videos, gurus who can manifest your ex. Maybe you want quick solutions, quick answers. It doesn't work like this. And if you're struggling, just a secret, if you're struggling, I'm preparing a group coaching program. It's basically a mix of course and coaching, which will be obviously a bit cheaper than one-to-one coaching, but I'm trying to get as much value as possible than one-to-one coaching. I have not really decided how I want to do it, but I've created a mailing list if you want to join. There's only a few of my existing clients who are there. This first thing will be really limited in numbers, but if you want to join the mailing list and want to know more, feel free to leave your details. It's in the comment section, but it's a secret. Other than that, I'll see you next time. Don't forget to click on the like button. It does help me a lot, and you can also subscribe to watch other videos like mine, like this one, and see me in your feed every day. Amazing, right? Bye.
igetmyexback.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.